And joining us now to discuss this issue of the Russian spies and their uptick in activities, we have Sergei Erofeev, sociologist from Rutgers University. Good afternoon and welcome to TVP World.
Hello.
So now, as we've learned, 9 people arrested in Poland in connection with acts of sabotage for Russian intelligence, as well as a series of suspicious fires here in Poland. Can we speak about the return of Kremlin agents to Europe at this point?
Well, in some ways, it's good news because it's a retreat from Europe rather than a return to Europe in a way, because we know that since the start of the war, many Russian spies under diplomatic cover have been exiled from Europe. And we will remember how years ago, looking at the Salisbury poisoning or at the attempted hacking in the Netherlands, the GRU, the Russian espionage agency, really using professionals. Now, it's a different stage and different situation for them. They have to turn to thugs, so to speak. So they really have to outsource their operations. It doesn't mean that there will be fewer of them, maybe just the opposite, maybe more, because this doesn't require extensive resources for Moscow. They can hire certain criminals in Poland or other countries cheaply. But this does not mean that Russia is really making some serious progress counteracting the West, who is helping Ukraine. What is more important here, as I always have to repeat, this war is more an information war than kinetic war. And the West should know, they think, in the Kremlin, that Mr. Putin is strong and that they can engage in any sabotage acts and seriously disrupt the economy and politics in the West. You can see various kinds of sabotaging activities. They have been taking place in regard of the European Parliament, for example, and there have been politicians in the West on Putin's payroll. So in that sense, there's nothing like stepping up in financial expenditures, I think, in these covert operations in Europe. But very, very important understanding of Mr. Putin that the information war should be won and the West should be intimidated.
Right, and I guess it's also good that the intelligence services did detect these individuals if indeed they are responsible for acts of sabotage. But, you know, going back to how the Soviet Union traditionally ran its spy ops, how much has that changed from then to now? And actually, shouldn't the countries of Central and Eastern Europe, especially the Baltics, shouldn't they have like an advantage in being able to counteract those Russian tactics?
Well, we can see that not only the Baltic states, but now Poland is investing more into counter-spying operations. And so it requires more resources, of course. So the West, the east of the West, Central Europe and the Baltic states, they understand the danger quite well. Maybe more can be done. But again, we have to remember that the war is mainly an information war. And it's more important for Putin to create an impression that there is a serious and professional disruption organized by Moscow in Europe, whereas it's not the case. But indeed, because these are no longer professionals, but just some thugs to whom the tasks are outsourced. This makes it easier for the Polish and other European counterintelligence agencies to be more successful in fencing off such activities. But yes, indeed, the West and Poland, they should be vigilant. It doesn't require immense resources like, as I said, Putin is not investing a lot of money into that. But with modern technologies and maybe some possibility to infiltrate these rings, it's becoming cheaper. And this should be continued. I don't think that Mr. Putin will succeed very much. But again, it's very, very important to create the impression that he's winning this war. And the war is an information war in the first place.
So now you also mentioned counter-spying operations being, of course, important. So what is your take on this new commission that we just heard our reporter from the Polish Parliament, Agata Dura, speak about? That it is supposed to focus on this Russian influence in Poland. No politicians this time, professionals, lawyers, scientists. What do you think about this commission?
Well, I do not have the details about that commission, but what I should really point out right now, that with the start of the war, there has been a huge wave of explosive emigration from Russia. And of course, 99.99% of those people are just political refugees. Even if they just are afraid of being drafted to Putin's army, they all, roughly speaking, are political refugees from Putin's dictatorship. But among those people, there could be some weak links which can be used by the Moscow regime to connect those people with subversive activities of these Western criminals, Polish criminals. Whatever commission is there, what is very important is to pay attention to the significant fact that the nature of this massive Russian immigration is totally pro-democratic, pro-liberal. And one shouldn't really make huge mistakes like it has been done in Czech Republic, for example, or in Baltic states or in Finland, when very funny and ridiculous measures are taken against those people who are actually our allies. Not forgetting that, one should really still pay attention to the possibility of using some recent Russian immigrants for some sabotage activities. This cannot be ruled out.
Certainly. Now, when you talk about the info war, and I'm going to ask you, kind of a broad question here. I don't know if we're going to be able to explore the exact details, but if we look at what's going on in Israel, and especially with the ICC and the indictment, or the pending potential indictment of Benjamin Netanyahu as defense minister, as well as the three leaders of Hamas, this seems like it would play perfectly into Russia's playbooks. Is there any evidence out there that this could be associated somehow or tied back to Russia?
Well, I would rate the situation between Russia and Ukraine higher in terms of threats to international security. And it's playing very much into the hands of Mr. Putin that the events in the Near East have been developing this way. He must be jumping of joy, thinking of what is going on between Israel and Gaza. Indeed, it's in favor of Mr. Putin, but even more so, the West shouldn't forget about what is going on in Ukraine and should remember that Ukrainian victory should be defined, and the Western strategy towards the war in Ukraine should be defined. It's not defined yet. It's very reactive and not proactive. We are still far from the moment of Casablanca 1943, when Churchill and Roosevelt finally came to the conclusion that the evil should be eliminated. I hope that one day it will dawn on the majority of Western governments.
Right. We're still not there yet. That's a political decision that must be made and must be made soon. Well, sir, Sergei Erofeev, thank you very much, sociologist from Rutgers University. Thank you once again, as always, for joining us on TVP World. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.